What's up, friends? Welcome into Rock Chalk Sports here at ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday. Full show for you today with a lot of football flavor here in the opening segment. We're going to hear from new KU football associate head coach Andy Kotelnicki, who spoke to reporters a little bit earlier today. Looking forward to that. Give a little breakdown, some thoughts on Coach K as well. Next segment, we are going to hear from some KU baseball players, Brady Ballinger, Voegele, and Dariel Osoria, who we heard from over at Allen Fieldhouse yesterday, as they're getting underway very shortly. And excited for another successful season of KU baseball under Dan Fitzgerald. California Kid will join us a little bit later. Dan, right around 1:40, we'll be able to get Henry on. So excited to have the pride of KUSports.com, LJWorld.com. And he'll talk KU basketball, KU football, and he does a great job covering the Olympic sports as well. So get him some baseball, softball questions as well. As it's starting to get a little bit warmer beginning tomorrow, and the feel of the spring season will be upon us. KU Mailbag segment. Dan, any particular questions that we should look forward to? KU Mailbag?
Elliot has a great question about one of our other podcasts, which I think is great. Two guys between two fountains. It's love to hear some feedback from some of our other shows as well. Obviously, Between Two Fountains is a great show. Some commercial corporate logos as well. So a lot of good stuff in the KU Mailbag today by the people for the people.
Two guys, Greg Gurley and Mick Schaefer, are between the two fountains. A lot great podcasts on our Kansas Nation podcast network. Check out KansasNation.com to keep up to date on all of the best episodes. We're going to hear from some KU softball players following our mailbag segment, and we'll close out with some college basketball game picks around the Big 12 tonight. No Big 12 games last night. A little bit strange, but much more loaded slate tonight. Dan, we just came over from the football building and heard from Lance Leipold, who we're going to hear from both tomorrow and Friday on Rock Chalk Sports, and associate head coach Andy Kotelnicki as well. Your first chance, getting a chance to see Coach K. Your thoughts?
Man, when he walked into the room, he gave a clap and he's like, "Let's do this guy." The stark contrast between the three offensive coordinators that have been, well, I guess technically he's not an offensive coordinator, Andy Kotelnicki, he's associate head coach, but between the three guys that we've been able to see, Jeff Grimes didn't show a lot of emotion at times, was a relatively gruff individual. Jim Zebrowski, just a bubbly kind of guy. And then Andy Kotelnicki's somewhere in between, and he is just full of energy, man. And he is just when he walked into the room, that was my first time being in the same room as him. And I was like, oh man, like I'm bought in. Like whatever this guy, he's going to make me run through a brick wall. I just absolutely loved him.
Yeah, great energy. And he's thrilled to be back. We're going to hear from him here. Like I said, momentarily, he's going to talk about why he chose KU, because he had a lot of different places he could go all around the country, a lot of different opportunities, different titles he could have taken. But after just a 2-year hiatus from the KU program and from working with Coach Leipold, he is back here in the River City. Cannot wait to have him. And the other thing that is noteworthy from something Coach Leipold said today is Coach Kotelnicki will indeed be calling the plays.
Yes.
So while Jim Zebrowski is the offensive coordinator, not surprising that the associate head coach, who is known for his offensive genius, Andy Kotelnicki, will be calling the plays. Coach Zebrowski will be heavily involved with the passing game and the quarterbacks, of course, and Matt Lubick will play a part as well.
Yeah, 100%. And, that's kind of the big looming question was, all right, well, what's Andy Kotelnicki going to be even doing? And, it was kind of laid out for us where Jim Zebrowski was, he was cool with it, man. He was like, hey, look, have Andy come in. Obviously, he's been doing it for a long time. And as long as he's going to be able to coach the quarterbacks and see that player development and be able to teach these young progressing minds, then, he's going to be fine with it. And obviously, Andy and Jim have worked side by side for a long time. So, it's really good to kind of get some clarity on kind of where the coaching situation is. But, you have to be really excited about Andy Kotelnicki coming back, obviously leaving Kansas to go to Penn State, having a lot of success there, and being able to come back, Lance said it. He's going to be a head coach someday, and someday very soon. But obviously, to have a guy like that in your corner is a tremendous asset.
KU basketball obviously has been at the forefront these last 3 weeks. They are 17-5, 7-2 in conference play. A lot has gone well for KU. They found ways to get victories, and we've talked a lot about them. We'll continue to do so. Of course, next up for KU, Saturday at 1:30 with the 12 o'clock pregame Crimson and Blue show as KU hosts Utah. But a little football flavor to start off Rock Chalk Sports today. Before we throw it to Coach K, we got to tell you about our friends over at Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Mitch Bales and his team over at a full-fledged medical clinic, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence, but it's a nice, comfortable setting. Check them out. Tell them the guys at Kansas Nation sent you. If you go, your first visit's completely complimentary. It's a 3-step process, a quick blood draw. If you're struggling with things like low energy, you think you have low T, maybe you have issues with ED like many guys have at some point in their life, they can help you out over at Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. So appreciate them so much for their partnership. And again, as you get older, make sure you're taking care of yourselves. Very comfortable setting. And Mitch Bales and his team, that is the place to go for all of your needs. All right, let's throw it to Coach K. Andy Kotelnicki at the podium a little bit earlier today.
You know, we were wondering if you walk in with a lot of energy or not. Most guys guess no.
Really? That's kind of shock. That's shocker.
No, nobody guessed no.
Well, it's good to see so many of you guys. A lot of familiar faces. A couple new ones. We're excited to be back. Very excited to be back. So, the fire away. Let's go. I like the mustache. That looks good.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's new, right? That's newer.
Yeah, it's kind of new.
I like it. Mustaches are back. This is good.
They are.
You've been waiting decades for that to
You still
return.
got your beard?
This looks great. I know. I'm a big beard guy. Hides my ugly face.
Andy, what was the process just in general of you deciding to come back, and what's it like being back now?
Okay, well, I'll take you through the journey. So, you know, it was pretty national news that there was going to be a change where I was coaching right in the middle of the season. And so, you know, in those months, I'm really proud of what we were able to do in terms of keeping the guys together, playing our best football at the end of the year. But there's a lot of emotions that go into that. In today's college football, there's a ton of questions about everyone's future, right? Players, coaches, all that. So we got to kind of just hunker down, worry about football. But then towards the end of the regular season, and then certainly into December, you know, it gets a little more serious about conversations about what I was going to do next with people. We had some opportunities. It's really flattering, obviously, to go through a humbling experience like that as a staff. It's really flattering, the number of people I got to talk to and interest that I received. And I had to actually sit down and say to myself, what do I want? Right? Because I was in a unique situation that I could probably be a little picky. And I made a list. I'll share that list with you. Okay? So I said, number one, I want to go to a place where my family, my wife and kids were going to be happy, right? That you know, schooling and the sports that they're involved with. Pickleball for my wife, big pickleballer. So reach out if you're competitive in pickleball because you want to play. We could go to a place where that was going to happen. I wanted to go to a place where my quality of life, meaning the people that I get to work with, right, on a daily basis, where I live, all that kind of stuff is good, okay? And then professionally, the three things that I wanted to go to a place that I could make an impact. I wanted to go to a place where I was going to be surrounded by people who were high capacity, that love teaching, that love coaching, right? And then from a player standpoint, they love the idea of daily improvement, and they want to stay in the front end of the best practices in football. And then lastly, I wanted to go to a place that I know we could win. And so I had that list, I had that criteria. I said, that's what matters to me. And as I talked to universities and in schools and individuals and whatever, professional teams, this was a place that checked all those boxes in spades. So that is kind of my journey to come back. And the second part of your question was how excited I am to come back. I'm very excited to be back. Very excited to be back.
Lance mentioned that you'll be a head coach someday soon in your career. How close during your time at Penn State were you to taking one of those opportunities maybe in this past one?
Oh, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like when you're a process-oriented individual, that's all you really care about. So how close? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I was very committed to what we were doing there, and committed to the guys that I was coaching, and the guys I was coaching with, and didn't really think too much about it. You know what I mean? But it's a goal of mine. I've talked about that before, but I've learned that fit and timing and being in the right spot is the most important thing, not your title.
And then obviously there were high aspirations when you went to Penn State, what you might be able to accomplish there. At least how jarring was the change that ended up happening? And did you learn anything about yourself as a coach through that change?
Well, that's a good question. It's a fair question. I would tell you that it reinforced why I do it. right? And I can tell you the three things, and everybody, your why. What's your why? What do you do? Why do you do what you do? I can tell you that I coach college football because I love teaching and coaching and developing. I love the relationships that are involved with the guys I work with and the players I get to coach and the people, everyone involved, all the constituents involved with the university. And then I love the strategy involved in developing a football team. So when I say strategy, people think about game plans and all that sort of stuff, but there's a strategy involved in everything that we do in developing our players, from what they eat to how we lift to the time we lift to how much we practice, all those sort of things. So those three things are why I coach college football. And when you go through something significant like that, you're really challenged. It's like, is that why you really love it? And what was really refreshing is that all of us in that building at that time, that's all we had was each other and to coach and teach and develop. And it was actually a lot of fun.
Lance mentioned that you're going to call plays here. It's just when is that decision from your perspective?
Say that again. What is my?
Yeah, when is that decision from your perspective to call plays?
I guess I've been doing it for 21 years, in a lot of places. Probably that would be it, I would guess.
Lance talked about you accepting the job and being back in town for the start of portal season. What was that entire experience like of having to come back to a new building and everything, and then having portal visitors and all of that start to unfold?
Well, so first of all, I would say this. So I was gone for a couple of years, right? And in that years, the only thing that was happening around this place was change, right? And so I come back and I stay over at Doriad, shout out Doriad, and I'm there and I didn't have a car and got dropped off. And then I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna walk over to the building. I don't know how to get to the building anymore because it's all blocked off with all the construction. So I got to walk way around. And then I come into the building, which I can't get into, by the way, my code didn't work anymore. Okay, it does now, right? But I come into the building and Billy Pinot, who works in our recruiting office, starts showing me around. And I go, this place is totally different. And I got to see where the club level and where our fans sit and the walk-through room and the meal room. And I go, holy shit, this is like a top 10 facility in the country. You got to see everything that's new in the training room and the place that I've got to see. We have some elite things here. So the first thing I saw when I came here was how much it changed and how impressive it is. And how when I see these facilities and the people that I know that are part of it, on where we're at now in terms of where we can really take off to. You know what I mean? We're not playing in a 100-year-old stadium anymore, right? Like we have a real deal facility, like our training room. Like I was down there in Trent Carter in the athletic training stuff. They're showing all of our recruits in the portal. They're showing all these things that's new to me too, right? Like we got cryotherapy and all, like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, we got saunas and red light therapy and all that crap. I'm like, okay, I mean, this is elite stuff. And so it's big time, for our guys. So I got to see that. And then you get into the recruiting of the players, right? That were coming here. And what the message was for me was, one, I got to show my excitement for everything that's new and exciting around this place as well. But then also maybe articulate what I just articulated about why I was coming back and for the reasons, because I think that there are authentic and genuine ones and they're of substance. It's not a bunch of bull crap. It's not superficial. It's not money related. It's really just about those 5 things I rattled off.
And I'm curious, you had a relationship with a good amount of the players, and then you moved on and graduated.
Uh-huh.
What has it been like to maybe reconnect with some of those guys, Isaiah Cole, whoever, that
Yeah.
were here when you were here? And what's it like to maybe see their own personal growth?
Yeah, that's really been fun. So there's guys that I had to reacquaint myself with when I got back, and it's fun to see how much bigger and more mature a lot of them are, which is exciting. They were excited that I was back, and I was excited to see him again. I got to see Devin Neal the other day. He was around, and so we chopped it up a little bit, and it was good to see him. And it's cool because what Coach has done, what Coach Leipold has done is you guys know. I mean, he's brought some consistency to this program that so desperately needed it, and with that is a generation of kids and players that come through that have a lot of pride for the program, and you can see that with some of the guys who have left that are now playing pro football, or maybe have their football careers are over and they're doing other things and they're reaching out and they're asking about coaching, and how to get into coaching and all these kind of things. We had one of our guys come back and talk to the team the other day. He's in real estate. You know what I mean? So there's a ton of pride in a generation now of people that have it, that are Jayhawks. So it's been cool to see.
Lance mentioned it was important to you that Jim Zabrowski would stick around. What's it been like transitioning into that role, and how have you made that transition as smooth as it can be given the situation?
It was like riding a bike. I'm telling you, it was awesome, and it was a concern because I think Jim brings out the best in me, and I bring out the best in him, and I think that we complement each other so well, in his style and my style, and bouncing back and forth, and so he was one of the first people I connected with, right, outside of Lance and the administration team here, but connect right away, talked about it, and what I love most about Jim is that if you were to ask him his why, one of the first things he's going to talk about is coaching and development. Like, I'll never forget, I don't know how many years Jim and I have worked together now, but we're sitting at a youth camp in the summer, and the camps, as you guys know, in June are just crazy for coaches, and so we're crazy busy. We're doing all these things, you're evaluating, you got recruits, you got all these things, and I'm just watching Jim coach the lowliest kid at camp. You know what I mean? But he's coaching his ass off on the guy because he just loves coaching and teaching. And he's giving this kid as much attention as the kid that we're trying to recruit. You know what I mean? And so that, if I could, that visualization I just gave you, that's Jim Zabrowski, right? And so to me, that resonates a ton with me.
And then you maybe touched on this a little bit, but what are some of the biggest things that you learned from years of, you've been with Lance for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
What are the biggest things you learned from seeing how someone else does it?
Well, I've been blessed in my life. I think when it's all said and done, at least at the Division I level, I'll have been able to work with two coaches who were probably considered some of the best coaches in college football, and that's really cool in Lance and James. What I would tell you is it's the similarities that stick out in terms of, number one, keeping it about the players and how important that is, whatever kind of person you are, how loud, obnoxious you are like me, or how soft-spoken you are, if you keep it about the players and focusing on their life and developing them and their quality of life, that's what moves the needle in organizations. So seeing that done in a different way is, again, it's reinforcing to the things that are really, really positive when working with Lance. And there's a bunch of things, right? Like if you guys, if any of you guys take a different job and you change, there's just a ton of growth that happens, the things that you see reinforcing so many of the things that were similar, with Coach and how they run the organizations.
Andy, you obviously had some real success at Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not enough, obviously, but you did have a heck of a year there and saw in the new landscape of college football with the playoff and everything, what that looks like, what it takes to get there. Did you ever, or have you thought about Kansas can get there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Was the last thing I said, to win. Why not? The margin of error is so small. And I will tell you this, you are never as far away from either end of the spectrum as you think you are. You are never as far away from never losing a game as you think, and you are never as far away from not winning a game as you think. And so the decisions that we make today, the behaviors that we have in as an organization today, the things that we're doing in training have such a compounding effect on what happens when we actually kick the ball off in fall. And what I got to see is at how different everybody can be and have success still, right? Playing in different leagues. Now, don't get me wrong, you have to have the great players and they have to perform. That's an obvious thing. But you are absolutely, to answer your question, yes, it's right there. You know what I mean? Now, we're process oriented. Like, we don't talk about wins. We don't talk about, you know what I mean? Obviously that's the goal for everybody. Everybody wants to win every game they play. They're never setting out to keep it close, but because we have such a process oriented mindset around here, I think the understanding of what we're doing now matters a ton for what's going to happen in the fall.
I also wanted to ask you, you gave us your list. In that process of making that list, or before you made it or after you made it, did you consult with anybody who had gone back to a place, or do you know anyone that's been in the shoes?
I talked to a lot of people. You know what I mean? I talked to a lot of people, a lot of different levels, a lot of different experiences, pro football, places that have gone back to other places and things like that. And you get feedback. And you, like I said, at the end of the day, you end up making the best decision, hopefully, for your family, which again, I have told. I sleep very well at night knowing that we did. But yeah, you want to ask. Because, it was a situation. I appreciate you asking this, and I'll just, whatever, I always want to be candid with you guys. It was a situation unlike anything I've ever been in before. You know, like, okay, there's a bunch of options. You know what I mean? A bunch of different roles. Like, what do you want to do? Because you didn't have to pick one. You know what I mean? Because it made sense that it was the next best job or one of two opportunities, right? It was one of several, and it could have been anywhere in the country. Part of that was like, we just want to go live someplace that'd be really cool. You know, we had those conversations. You know, so I did. I asked a lot of people. You know what I mean? And again, the main thing, going back to I think what someone asked about what it was like to go through it. I go, when you go through it, when you are again reinforced why you do it in the first place, you're like, that's what I want. So I want to be able to go to a place I can make an impact and coach and teach and develop, because that's what I'm passionate about. Kirby, you've been really quiet back there, my man. What's the deal, bro? Guy gets a knee replaced, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, right? Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
You guys added Chase to the quarterback room.
Mm-hmm.
What made him someone you wanted to add to that group?
Well, the first thing you look at his film is his athleticism, right? And I really value that. I think it fits what's in the quarterback room now a ton. It's going to add a lot of competition to that room. But to have, what happens is, I'll give you this an example. So let's say you had a Lamar Jackson type of quarterback, right? Well, the guy behind him, if he is Peyton Manning, right, which is a hell of a backup, but you know what I'm saying? Their skill sets are different, right? Like, what does the offense look like when all of a sudden he has to go into the game? And is it a huge departure from what it was when the other guy's in there? Because now it's not just, like, the quarterback has got to be different, but like all the players and what they have to do has got to be a little bit different. See what I'm saying? So there's some merit to having some similarities, at least, if you will, take what is it called, the Venn diagram, is that right? Like with the little bubbles overlap, is that right? Okay, good. Thank you. That Venn diagram. All right, right. It all overlaps. We want them all to be individuals, and some skill sets are going to be better than others, but there's got to be an overlap of some of that. And so there was an athletic piece that he definitely demonstrated. I thought was outstanding. Good addition.
You guys added Phil Edwards. Obviously, he's a different running back than Devin Neal, but do you see kind of similarities, and would you be using him kind of similar to what Devin gave?
Well, I think his skill set is a very unique one. And I'm excited to work with him because he's a fun. He has some unique skill sets and talents that merit some specialized packages for sure. So I think that's true of a lot of players that have been able to coach. But he again, I'm bringing up Venn diagram again, right? So like if you take those guys, then the great running backs have to have a couple things in common. The vision is a critical one. You know what I mean? The ability to get yards after contact is the second one. And then what separates them is what happens outside of those two things. Okay, and I think when you look at Dylan, his ability to operate in space is so unique, and it's so elite, really, that it's going to just, we need to do a great job of utilizing him that way. So I'm really excited about working with him.
Andy.
Oh, here it is.
It's been a while since I want to say that there's been a really open quarterback battle, because there's been so many years here that you
Yeah.
knew who the guy was. How do you approach that?
The way you really do anything else, okay? And I would tell you that as you maybe have felt that way in the past, but when we first got here, man, it was wide open, and then I think the year after that, there's competition, and with the way that Jason and Jalen handled that was so elite. And I'm so proud of both those guys. Well, you handle it by making sure that you're coaching them all, right? You're giving them all reps, the same kind of opportunities in practice. You're starting to identify maybe what this quarterback is doing a little bit better and different in this area, and then what's this quarterback doing a little bit better and different in this area, and then tailoring the plays or the scripts, if you will, to that style of player, right? And again, to the question earlier, because we have some athletic quarterbacks here, which I'm excited about. there to be enough overlap. But as they start to evolve and grow and change, as they, and again, not that one is a better or worse, but like he's better at this and he's better at this. Okay, well, let's put those guys in a position to succeed, right? It would be a way that you would intentionally start to script and prepare those guys to really showcase what they can do well. But it's going to start with equal opportunity, going to start with equal chances to go out there and demonstrate how they operate, the huddles, everything like that, right? And they've already started doing it. I've been really pleased with that group.
Knowing what you already had in terms of pass catchers, including some guys that you were familiar with, like Keaton, who you played as a freshman, varsity you recruited, what were some of the main skill sets you were trying to acquire at receiver and tight end? And I guess, how did you feel about the guys you ended up with there?
Well, you always want them to be great. You always want guys to be great catchers, right? To be able to catch the ball well. I think, their ability, especially as the further away you go from the ball, the more speed is a factor, right? You know what I mean? At the receivers, there's a physicality component to both those positions. Obviously, the closer you are to the ball, the more imperative it is, right? So a guy with Carson, but you're really looking for guys that can be what we would call every down guys. They don't have a deficiency in an area or another that requires them to come off the field when they're going to be asked to do this, right? So, for example, you don't want to ask the guy who is 140 pounds to go in and crack a linebacker, okay, right? So you would probably take him off the field if you're going to ask him to do something like that. So what you really want out of all those positions is to be every down guys that are fast enough to take the top off and run a post, that are nifty enough that you can throw intermediate routes, that can make enough contested catches that you can go out there and win versus press, and that are physical enough to go in there and help us run the football.
Going back to before the portal started, did you go back and look at the roster, the personnel offensively? And I know you're familiar with guys like Calvin,
Yeah.
but what was that process like of maybe reacquainting yourself with what the guys showed on tape last year, and maybe what were the things that stood out when you looked at just the guys who are on train?
I don't know that it's fair to get into individual, evaluations. Like I said, some of the guys that I knew coming back, it was just kind of fun to see them play. It's like, oh, I remember, going to Carson's high school musical to recruit him. It's a true story, by the way. I went and saw Grease. His mom was the producer. Or is that what they call it when you run it? Director. That's what I said. Director, right? So she was the director. But I got to go see Carson, and all of a sudden he's out there, he's playing snaps. And again, they'd been gone for a couple of years, so that you get to see those guys do that. It was more that when I got here, it was show me, what's happening now with my own eyes, not off of film. Show me what you're capable of, what you're doing. And all those guys that I knew, part of the reason they were here in the first place is because they were men of action, right? And that they were doing those things right away when I got here.
Offensive line was a spot you guys added several players in the portal. Was there a point of emphasis when you guys looked at that position of styles that you wanted to add?
Well, similar. I'm going to speak in generalities here, but you always want your offensive line to be physical, nasty. You want them to be able to be athletic and bend and can run. We really value athleticism in our offensive line because of what we want them to do. I think that allows us to be a little more multiple. And then we're looking for guys who got some reps and experience, you know what I mean? The ability to do it, and I think we're able to do that in all those areas. Obviously, you've heard me say, probably a bunch of guys, if you can remember back years, when you look at championship level football, they have great line play on both sides of the ball, and we want to make sure that we're getting that done, because when we do good on our side, that's going to make the defense side better, and vice versa, right? And so having athleticism, having some diversity in the group, with experience and physicality, all that kind of stuff, it just makes us better as a football team,
Option was something that you guys wound up leaning on quite a bit. Was that more of a, hey, this is something Jalen can do really well, or is it something that you see maybe coming back a little bit, considering there hasn't maybe been as much the last couple of years?
Well, I think it's an important piece to football, right, in general. So I think even the most immobile quarterback, you can have option components to put stress on the defense. And the more that you're comfortable with the quarterback being a ball carrier, perhaps is the more that you could call that kind of stuff. There's a limit to that, right? I think when you Think about quarterbacks and how they take hits. Like there's got to be a little bit of a hit count, so you have to be strategic about how much you want to do it and why, and then you have to evaluate, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is it worth installing this, running the risk of him taking these kind of hits, and then will allow us to still be productive and explosive as an offense? So you have to kind of evaluate that holistically. There's really no cookie cutter answer to is it right or wrong? Will you have it? We're absolutely going to have it. How much? Probably depends on the opponent and how well it's going, But we need to have really good ball distribution. We need to have balance in how we run and how we throw the ball. And certainly option football will be a part of that.
Against Texas Tech, you put Armage in motion in the slot and had him kind of crack down. He did similar things at Penn State. Where did that, one, come from? And two, have you had any offensive linemen here hit you up about?
I have not had any guys here hit me up yet, but it became a thing in other places, and rightfully so. I think you've heard me say before, if it helps us move the football, we'll put 10 linemen out there. I don't care. But when you have some depth at the offensive line, just like you would say if you had depth at the tight end room or the receiver room, running back room, you got to figure out ways to get those guys involved. As a matter of fact, I think we spoke before in here about what happens when you try to get depth, even at the quarterback room. Like there's a lot of merit to getting players involved in certain packages just to get them on the field and get them reps, because those are real game reps that they can do. And again, it has to help us. They have to merit being on the field, right? Like it's not just we're not a Make-A-Wish Division I football team where if you're on the roster you get to play. Like we need to make sure that if they're going on the field, they're going to help us move the ball and execute, score points. And if you have some depth at positions, those are the kind of things that you should be doing. But I do love linemen, right? And I love when they go over there and knock the hell out of somebody. That is a good thing.
Anything else for Coach Ken?
What's your Super Bowl pick?
Ooh, who's even playing? I want both teams to have fun. That's all. You know what I mean? That's what I want. Both teams to have fun.
That's Andy Kotelnicki a little bit earlier today over at the football building. Dan, I'm glad that you still know your way inside the football building after a long hiatus. It seems like it's been a while.
Yeah, I had to take a couple of laps around to kind of get my bearings once again. But it was nice to get back in there. Man, I miss that room.
So I actually have a funny story about that. So I got there today early because Dan and I had a Zoom meeting, and Andy Eish, one of our great media communication staff over at Kansas football, he cracks the door open, but I was there like over an hour early. So the side of the building that we're supposed to go in, it was not cracked open yet. So I texted Andy, and I'm waiting for him to respond. This girl comes over. This is just this morning. And she comes to the front door, and you need like a fob or keypad, key code or whatever. And she says, "Do you want to get in?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm like an hour early though. We have a meeting in half an hour, and I wasn't going to be able to do the meeting and then drive over here and that sort of thing." She's like, "Okay, well I can help you." And bless her heart, she says she can help me in through security. Security is way over by the loading dock.
Oh no!
So she was very nice. She like walked me over there, but the whole time I'm like, "Oh my God, she's walking me like across the stadium." And now it's like I had gone too far.
And
like at that point, I couldn't say no.
I'm just door you needed to go into.
Yes.
And she took you all the way to the north
out
end
of the kindness
stadium.
of her heart. Shout out to Jayla. She was very nice.
Wow.
But I didn't have it in me at that point because we're walking all the way over to be like, well, Andy's probably going to respond, so he can probably just let me in. But she had offered. So anyway, we go all the way down, then we go down to the loading dock.
Oh.
We go in through security, and she asked me if I knew the name of her boss. And I was like, no, I don't know. And then we got in there, and then I had to at 10:02 when the press was at 11, tell these people, I was like, well, I'm actually just here for a media thing over at Anderson, but I just coming in early because I have this meeting held up. So they strap a wristband on me.
Oh no!
For security reasons.
Oh my gosh.
So then I'm like, okay, great, thanks. So then it was just like, I had gone too far to say anything. So then I'm walking in the concourse in the lower level of the stadium. I get lost. I have no idea where I'm at. So I go
caves down
outside.
There, yeah.
I see an exit door, and at this point, I'm just trying to get back to Anderson. But I see an exit door, but I put my water bottle in between the door because I was like, I know that if I walk out here, this little area, the whole stadium is gated in, so I'm like, I might not be able to get out. Thankfully, I did that. I come back in because I was like, I don't know where I'm going. And I turn the corner, and sure enough, this Jayla girl, who's a student, turns back, and I meet her. I'm like, I'm lost. I'm like, I need you to help me. So then basically she takes the elevator, and then we get up, and I eventually get back over to Anderson. But it was like so embarrassing because she took the time out of her day in freezing cold weather to walk me over like a 5-minute walk from Anderson to the loading dock, and she was doing it. So
did Andy text you back at all during this time?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
He had said that he had cracked it open for me.
Right.
Yeah,
so I was trying to get over there.
So that was a mess. But I got in the room. I know. But she's a senior lady. And she works in security there at the football stadium. But I had like my security badge and everything. So when usually it's so like laissez-faire walking in there. Oh, we'll crack the door open for you. And anyway, that's my story of getting lost inside the booth today. But Andy Kotelnicki back as associate head coach for Kansas football. And to tell us all about it, next segment, Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com, LJWorld.com, California's finest, joins us in studio after this, ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. KansasNation.com, the place to be. Greg Gurley and Mick Schaefer, they've got a great podcast called Between Two Fountains that you'll want to check out. There's two guys, there's two fountains, and they are between them. So you want to check that out. All things Kansas City, not just KU coverage, but if you love KU coverage, Rock Chalk Sports, really good podcast. Check that out, KansasNation.com.
I love those guys.
Also, The Jayhawker, a new episode just dropped a little bit earlier today. Nate Bukaty with Travis Goff on The Jayhawker. So check that out. Obviously, Melvin Council's been on that as well. The Timeout with Tyshawn Taylor. He's got some cool guests coming up. Haney and the Hawks as well. Great stuff. KansasNation.com. All right, let's bring on the California kid, Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com, and the Lawrence Journal-World. Henry, thanks as always for making the time for us in a very busy time of year. I don't know if you want to start with football. Let's start with football. We opened with Andy Kotelnicki. Got a chance to go over toward Anderson, and some of us knew our way around the building. Some of us did not. But heard from Andy Kotelnicki and Lance Leipold today. Biggest storylines, biggest takeaways in your mind from the coaches speaking today?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of ways you can go with it. I think you got to start with the material, consequential information of Andy Kotelnicki's calling plays. Jim Zebrowski's going to be the pass game coordinator, and I guess they also said Lubick would sort of be the run game coordinator. I'll be really interested to see how that partnership works out. I don't think this comes as much of a surprise, given that if Andy Kotelnicki indeed had as much interest as he suggested, and he suggested he had quite a few options, and there's been reporting about some of those, why would he come back if not to call plays? And as he said, he's been doing it for more than 2 decades. So that makes sense, but it was good to hear that on the record and in an official setting. And I think fans can certainly look forward to the level of creativity that he'll bring next season. I also liked kind of what Lance said about Andy's gotten this reputation as maybe being a bit gimmicky. But he kind of defended Kotelnicki against that charge, saying that it's more an attempt to put the right players in positions to succeed. And that's kind of what they said all through his time at KU, and it worked when he was at KU quite resoundingly. So I think especially with the wide range of skill sets they've got at running back and wide receiver and tight end, he'll be able to do that once again in some innovative ways and maybe shed that gimmicky label that's been attributed to him based honestly on just one season that wasn't that great. I mean, people were pretty high on Kotelnicki after his first year at Penn State. So,
you think? Yeah, they had a lot of success.
And he was in conversation for head coaching jobs that year too, after one season with the Nittany Lions. The other material information won't get as many headlines, but is worth discussing is Joe Dineen getting to coach the defensive ends, and Taiwo Onotolu will now be solely the special teams coordinator. This will be the first time since Lance's first year they've had a guy whose job was just being the special teams coordinator. Of course, it was Jake Schoonover that year. He ended up leaving. But that is a bit of an interesting development. It's the kind of thing you can only do now because there are fewer limits on how many on-field coaches you can have. You might as well divide the labor even more because there's no reason not to when you can have this many analysts. Just give them the title of defensive end coach like Joe Dineen will have. But obviously keeping an alum around is great for the program. Keeping a guy with the recruiting reputation that Dineen has from his time in the Big Ten is good for the program. And KU special teams was pretty clearly on an uptick last year. So I'll be interested to see what Onotolu can do when that's his sole focus. Obviously a lot of new players coming in that realm with Martin Connangton and Matt Gill and Reno Monteforte, but kind of a new step in that direction. Those are the biggest takeaways. There was a lot more discussed. We talked a little bit off air, but there was a period where Lance Leipold went on a pretty passionate defense of sort of staffing continuity. He said at one point that if he hadn't gotten Andy, he would have kept things as is with the staff. He basically said that no one's really good in their first year in a given job, and everyone deserves a chance to get better. And that was pretty clearly a defense of DK McDonald and his work as the defensive coordinator, and the idea that he can grow in the second season. So very informative couple of press conferences today, but those are just kind of the broadest takeaways for me from the 57 minutes or so that we had today.
Yeah, and the 57 minutes you heard part of with Andy Kotelnicki in our open today, but you'll hear from Coach Leipold tomorrow on Rock Chalk Sports. And getting back to Kotelnicki, it's interesting. One of the things that he said that really struck me was regarding Jim Zebrowski, because that can be a sensitive scenario where Jim Zebrowski is the offensive coordinator and, a guy comes back. It's kind of like, your old college roommates after you are married and have kids, your old college roommate deciding they're going to come back. Hey, you missed me? That's okay. I'm going to live with you. It's fine. It's a little bit different, but same deal where it's kind of awkward. It's like everything is hopefully working as well as it did last time. But I loved what he said about Zebrowski just loving coaching and teaching and how he coaches the guy essentially furthest down on the depth chart as hard as he would a recruit or a top-tier guy. And I think that it just seems like a match made in heaven from a team standpoint. Obviously, you have Matt Lubick as well. Pieces together from Kansas' most successful seasons in the recent past.
Yeah, they sold me on it being a fairly smooth transition, which I admittedly had some concerns about. And, you feel kind of bad for Zebrowski about how this went down. It's not like the offense was terrible last year, and as Lance said, first-year coordinators deserve some grace. But I think that it certainly seems like they're all uniformly aligned, and this being a move that will bring it back to the heights of several years ago. And they're excited to see what they can accomplish as a partnership. It's sort of like what I was saying before. You think about it maybe being a too many cooks situation, but on the other hand, it's all the same cooks that were there before. Like there's not more people than there were in 2023. They just have different job titles. So that maybe gives you some faith that they can work it out. It's very valuable for KU that they were able to keep Jim Zebrowski around, even in a somewhat diminished role. He had such a good reputation, even when he was just the quarterback's coach, and then again when he was elevated to co-offensive coordinator. I think that even if he's taken a step back from play calling, it's good that they were able to slide Kotelnicki in such a way that it didn't totally disrupt the entire makeup of the offensive coaching staff.
Yeah, Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com, and the Lawrence Journal World joins us here in studio. Henry, wanted to talk to you just about this transfer portal class. This is the first time that we've had Lance and Andy be able to kind of comment in public kind of about this transfer portal class. Not a lot of questions were asked about that because there was a lot of other storylines that were being thrown around, and Lance had already been up there for 30 minutes probably by the time the first kind of, hey, roll us through this. But he did mention a few names while he was answering that last question. He brought up guys like David Santiago, guys like Kason Carpenter, just any of those guys that Lance maybe talked about that kind of sticks out to you.
Yeah, he tried to get through it really quickly. I think he was acutely aware that his time was running down, and so he was trying to cover because naturally people wanted to ask about Dylan Edwards and Chase Jenkins.
Yeah.
Because those are the most recent guys, and they're at the two most prominent positions on the team. And Dylan Edwards has a whole thing around him.
What's that?
Well, we came in today and found they had a transfer from Missouri as well.
That's right. Yeah. That's
Brandon Solis, right? An offensive lineman who
6'7" tackle.
Previously unreported. I don't know how things go beyond our notice. Maybe that's my fault. I don't know.
Yeah, that was weird. I heard you and Michael kind of talking about that up front. You're like, oh, there's a new guy.
Yeah.
We've never heard of this guy before.
But anyway, so maybe Dylan Edwards not the only one coming from a rival,
Yeah.
But obviously they're going to draw a lot of attention. And Edwards, with his speed, we've talked about it, gives KU a dimension that it hasn't had in previous years. And it was fun to hear Leipold and Kotelnicki already discussing the ways they could potentially work him in. I wish we had gotten to ask more about Yacine Willis and Jalen Dupree and exactly how they fit into the offense too. The Jenkins thing is interesting. I kind of like the thing Kotelnicki said about if you have Lamar Jackson as your starter and Peyton Manning as your backup quarterback or whatever. But the idea with Jenkins is it makes sense from a skill set standpoint. That's the kind of guy you would want to bring in for cohesion in terms of the kinds of archetypes of quarterbacks you have. Now we just have to see if he's a viable contender to be a starter.
Yeah.
And we don't know at this point. And it'll be months before we know, and we probably won't even know until the second week of fall camp, which is many months away. Although earlier than it was last year because later than it was last year because they started
Last year started in July, right?
Yeah,
It was like
because they started early because of week 0. So never mind. But those were the two that were most thoroughly discussed. I'm sure that as spring draws nearer, we'll get more opportunities to discuss the others in the trenches. I mean, you talked about him. He referenced Carpenter as someone he wanted to bring in to play center and strengthen the interior of that offensive line. He mentioned Santiago as a big body at defensive end. But, yeah, we really didn't get to dig in all that much to any position other than quarterback and specifically Dylan Edwards at running back.
Yeah, well, it'd be great. Just Andy Eish, if you're listening, for another presser, maybe 3-4 weeks, and we can dive into that and get the thoughts more of some members of the coaching staff. But certainly loved hearing from Coach Leipold, Coach Kotelnicki today, and a lot of excitement. It's interesting. This is just something me and your brain probably works similarly. Kansas did play in week 0, but also the season starts a week later this year, just from a calendar standpoint for everybody. So the season started August 30th or 31st. That was week 1 last year, but just from a calendar standpoint, the season starting September 5th. So instead of Kansas playing August 23rd in week 0, they don't play until week 1, and week 1 isn't actually until September 5th. KU plays September 4th against Long Island, so a little bit later. And that is why Kansas only has 1 bye week instead of the 3, which is strange that they had last year. But football season, that being said, will be here before we know it. So much excitement for KU basketball right now. Henry, Hawks are now 17-5, 7-2 in Big 12 play. You were in Lubbock on Monday. Quick turnaround for everybody. But this is, as I said on the show earlier this week, this is what Kansas' best teams did under Bill Self. The championship winning teams that Coach Self has had is, it doesn't matter that it was a short turnaround. It doesn't matter that it was a top 15 team. It doesn't matter that people were exhausted and you had injuries and you had fatigue and all that. You still win. That's what Kansas did on Monday. Impressive they got it done, especially down 9 late.
Yeah, I don't think for people who weren't there, they can totally grasp just how improbable that victory felt in the final minutes. I understand it was only a 3-point game when Peterson pulls up between 2 Red Raiders in the corner, but
not between 2 fountains. Between two Red
not
Raiders.
Between 2 fountains. There were
between 2 Red Raiders. You can check out that
two
podcast
Red Raiders,
on the Texas Tech Nation.
Texas Tech Nation. Lubbock, Texas Nation. Lubbock Nation. Just some expansion ideas.
If you're listening.
Anyway, I understand it was a 3-point game after that lob from Tiller to Badunga makes it 61-58, but it did not feel to me like KU was going to suddenly jump ahead and win in regulation. And honestly, it shouldn't even have been as dramatic as it was because Trey threw it away trying to do a bounce pass for no reason. But, this is when KU got Darren Peterson, this is what we all envisioned him doing. We envisioned him being a closer who would rescue KU from situations where it honestly didn't seem like it deserved to win for much of the night. And that's exactly what happened. He was 0 of 2 and 2 of 2 at the free throw line in the second half leading up to that point. Somehow you have the confidence to take those insanely contested shots and drain both of them. It was incredible to watch. I think it's probably the most frantic I've seen press row just trying to delete basically our entire stories and rewrite them in the final minute and 20. It wasn't even the final minute and 20 seconds because it was a tie game. It was the final 45 seconds. That was challenging. Yeah. So, but I think you guys said it on the show yesterday, but this is not a game that a lot of people looked at saying, KU will probably win that one. The second part of a Saturday money turnaround in maybe the 3rd hardest place to play in the Big 12. Are
you including Allen Fieldhouse?
I was. So for me, I've now been to 14 Big 12 arenas. I'll have been to all of them by the end of the year. I probably go Allen, Hilton, and the United Supermarkets Arena.
Okay.
What do you guys have different takes?
I've only ever been the only other place that I've been is Bramlage, and that place sucks. What a dump.
Bramlage is a pretty good environment.
No, I know it's fine.
But specifically when KU is
yeah.
Now, granted, I haven't been there for other games.
Sure.
So have you been to McHale Center?
No. 14,
that's the one you haven't been.
Is it Desert Financial Arena, the ASU?
Yes.
So I'll be there by the end of the year. I've gotten the other 14, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Now I'm going to be second guessing that. In any case, I don't think a lot of people penciled this in as a straightforward victory for KU. I think a lot of people were coming in this 5-game stretch saying, well, hopefully go 3-2. Well, they're now 2-0 to start out and have a pretty solid chance of being 4-1 by the end of it, if not 5-0. Obviously, some very challenging matchups ahead, but I think this is like you said, a classic Bill Self road win, and of the sort that we haven't seen in the last few years, and just a really impressive display by everyone involved in keeping it close enough that Peterson was able to make a difference with those final 2 threes.
Continuing on this, I guess I kind of want to look at the path forward for Kansas, because leading up to this month, we kept on talking about February is going to be a gauntlet. If you can get out of February barely limping and then make it to the Big 12 tournament and then hopefully, make it to the NCAA tournament as a 4 or higher or whatever that may be, you just got to get through February, right? Well, February's here, and I'm including the BYU game as February Eve, if you will.
It was
Your
February.
birthday.
It was February in Australia.
It's February in Australia. You're exactly right. Also, Henry Greenstein's birthday, by the way.
Yeah.
You're 2-0.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're looking at this and you're thinking, oh man, you got Utah and you got Arizona. It's going to be tough, obviously, but you're looking at this thinking the way that Kansas was not only just able to come back, but just able to close out these games in a way that you haven't been able to see the last 2 years. I guess in your mind, has the ceiling changed at all? I know for me, at least, there's a number of different times in this year where I'm like, oh, man, we look like a Final Four team. Oh, man, we look like a round of 32 team. Oh, I keep on going back and forth. Yeah. But just with this stretch of games, starting with the Iowa State game, and has that changed your mind at all in terms of the ceiling of this team and, just kind of where they're sitting at?
Well, it has, especially with Peterson having played a full game. I'm starting to see a vision of how this team can make a deep run in the tournament. Peterson was starting to blend himself much better with the rest of the team. There's no question. But when you're playing top-level competition, you need 2 halves of Darren Peterson. And I understand he wasn't all that great in the second half, whether that's because he said he wasn't cramping, but whether it's because of residual injury effects, whether it's because of fatigue from the Saturday, Monday, we don't necessarily know. But even just having him for the last minute and 20 seconds was enough for KU. And so, yeah, absolutely. You think about some of the stuff that's been floating around the last couple of days. When was the last time people seriously thought KU could contend for the Big 12 regular season title?
That was the first time.
Yeah.
I think after beating Texas Tech, that was the game you're like, okay, wait a second. Let's get back to the mindset that we should have.
I understand they're 2 games back, and I understand Arizona's probably going to be unbeaten coming into Allen, and obviously even if KU beats them in Allen, they still have to go to McHale late. I understand that, but just from an expectation standpoint, last time I think people seriously talked about that was early in the 23-24 season.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time people talked about KU being on the number 3 seed line? When was the last time people talked about KU having a really solid chance of not having to play on Wednesday in the Big 12 tournament?
Right.
It's stuff that Kansas fans were accustomed to for many years and didn't have to contemplate there was an alternative. Well, the last 2 years, people had to contemplate the alternative. Now, not to be premature because we're only halfway through conference play, but it's easy to see the vision of how KU can be a high seed and a contender for the regular season trophy, even if it doesn't actually end up happening.
Yeah, toward the end of the season last year, I think with 1 game left, maybe 2 games left, because I love doing the bracketology stuff, but I was looking ahead at the Big 12 tournament and seeing, okay, the highest Kansas could finish and play as a seed in the Big 12 tournament was a 6. The lowest was a 9.
Yeah.
Kansas was a few things not going their way the final week of the season to playing on Tuesday in the Big 12 tournament, which is just absolutely unheard of. And
I didn't know they played on Tuesdays.
Well, they did. I don't think they did until recently.
Yeah. So it's it's been a nice breath of fresh air. But all of a sudden, Kansas 7-2 after a 1-2 start. A lot to like about the Jayhawks, and you've got Utah on Saturday. Classic trap game, I guess. The Utes are bad. They're the only team K-State's beaten, but another team that Kansas didn't beat last year, which I never really read into that. It's different players, right? Or like, oh, Kansas hasn't beaten
and a new
Colorado.
coach.
Yeah, it's completely different. But expect KU to take care of business. And then I guess a word from you on Arizona and what that game could mean for the Jayhawks, because KU very likely could be in the top 10. Arizona's not going to lose to Oklahoma State in all likelihood, so they're going to be number 1 and undefeated. What a scene that'll be in Allen Fieldhouse. And I think, honestly, you know how I feel about this, Dan. You're at home. You need to win.
Yeah.
And now Kansas has proven that they've got the guys this year to do that. And I know Arizona is walking through that door with that number 1 ranking, but certainly a great opportunity again for KU.
Yeah, so, I mean, Utah, as you said, not very good. They have a kind of a Haggerty-like scorer in Terrence Brown, I believe, who averages a really high amount. They got some shooters like McHenry, but not the most formidable team inside, not very deep. It's a rebuild for Alex Jensen. Arizona, it's a fascinating thing for me because they're basically trying to see how good a team can possibly be without shooting threes. Like they really don't shoot threes all that much. They've got these incredibly sturdy, like defensively inclined guards. They have 2 people who were starters last year who are willing to come off the bench for them. They've got 2 of the best freshmen in the country. It's come together super nicely. And like I said, they'll probably be undefeated because they play Oklahoma State tonight, I believe, before, or is it on Saturday? Saturday.
Yeah, this is their weird week without a game. Yeah.
So they play Oklahoma State Saturday. But yeah, you have to imagine KU will be a home underdog again when it comes time for that game, and that's a position in which they tend to thrive. The crowds at Allen Fieldhouse have really risen to the occasion. I expect they'll do so again, even though it's a Monday. Can't wait for that. Obviously, KU will have to take care of business first against the Utes, but this should be the easiest game on their entire conference schedule, and I have a feeling the coaching staff will find a way to get them locked in for it. And if things go according to plan and they build a lead, maybe you take it a little easy on some guys and are better rested for the big Monday.
And Kansas has such a great resume already that this is just another chance to get a huge win, right? We're talking seeding. I've talked about how I feel about Kansas getting to that 3 line at least. I think right now they're on the 3 line. By most accounts. But yeah, it could be Dan, another great opportunity for KU. You win this, all of a sudden, like we talked about, you're talking Big 12 championship and maybe even getting a higher seed.
Yeah, 100%. And got to keep it rolling. And you got Arizona coming up, but also, like you said, kind of a trap game where people are going to be looking ahead to Big Monday. All of a sudden, Utah comes in and they give you a run for their money.
No matter what happens in that Utah game, Coach Self is not going to be happy after. I can guarantee you that. There's going to be something, and that's what the best coaches do.
I've definitely had the vibe of this being kind of like, remember the home game against Colorado last year where it was sort of like an 8-point game for like the entire time?
Yes.
And that's kind of where I'm feeling with this Utah thing.
Okay, lock it in. Henry, before we let you go, Super Bowl picks. Any predictions?
I mean, I don't know if you've seen it. People are pretty uniformly on the Seahawks.
No, I am too. Well, Drake May had he had a shoulder injury.
I know, but Darnold's got the oblique.
That's true.
You know? It's funny they call it an oblique injury.
If you think about it, we all have an oblique.
Yeah.
I got 2 of them.
Great point. You just ruined my own joke. I trying to make.
I love when people say it. People are like, oh, well, he's out with a knee.
Yeah. I'm always out. I'll go Seahawks. I mean, that's where my head is right now. I think the defense will bounce back a little bit. They weren't stellar against the Rams necessarily. I don't know if Patriots have the consistent skill position talent to keep up compared to Seattle.
Yeah. Seabird's going with Super Bowl 59, right?
60.
Oh, my God. This is 60?
It's crazy. It used to be, it was only a thing you would see like in Madden when you get like 10 years into the future. And
that shows how much 60. I've checked out since the Chiefs have been.
They won it last year. There was 59 last year.
I couldn't remember. All right. To be fair, I blocked that game out of my memory as well. Right. I blocked that game out of 24-0.5.
Super Bowl.
Don't want that.
Chiefs were in live and licks.
Kansas women's basketball, they got to win 2 at home this week. It's been rough. And then baseball, softball starting soon. Anything you got on that front or KUSports.com?
I mean, the women's basketball team. We'll have stuff on all of them. I'll have a softball full season preview tomorrow. Women's basketball. It's been tough to watch, honestly. A team with a top 2 players this talented should not be 3-8 in conference play. It's crazy. Baseball and softball, plenty of reason for optimism with both. And I'm excited to hear from Dan Fitzgerald tomorrow as well.
Check out KUSports.com, LJWorld.com. Henry Greenstein, one of the great journalists of our time, who is always so gracious with his time. Henry, good luck with all the work you got in front of you, to be frank, the rest of this week, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you.
All right, Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com, Lawrence Journal World. After this, we're going to hear from some KU baseball players who were at the podium postgame at Allen Fieldhouse. Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, and KansasNation.com. Really appreciate Henry Greenstein from KUSports.com, LJWorld.com coming in studio. Busy man, but makes the time for us. A lot to get to, honestly.
Yeah.
Loved the coverage of KU football, getting to hear from Leipold and Kotelnicki. And we'll have Leipold, like I said, tomorrow on Rock Chalk Sports. Going to hear from some KU baseball players. It's not postgame, but they were at the podium.
They certainly were.
Yesterday at Allen Fieldhouse. But first, tell us about a new partner we have, Custom Lawn and Landscape.
Yeah, man, we have been busy, and I've been so busy that I have not been able to do any yard work whatsoever. And you know, winter, it's not downtime for your lawn. It's actually prep time. January, February are when Healthy Spring Lawn is built. Custom Lawn and Landscaping is scheduling winter services right now, from soil treatments and pre-emergent applications to tree and shrub care that protects your yard from harsh cold. Don't wait until the spring to wish your lawn looked better. Start now and enjoy your yard all year long. Call Custom Lawn and Landscaping or schedule online at customlawn.com. Custom Lawn and Landscaping. Better lawns start early.
The smell of freshly cut grass reminds me of baseball season. Let's go to the podium and hear from Brady Ballinger, Dom Voegele, and Dariel Osoria yesterday previewing KU baseball.
Brady, can you just talk a little bit about your Team USA experience this summer?
Yeah, no, it was a really good experience to go out there and meet a lot of great players, and it was really cool facing some of the best competition in the country.
For any of you guys, with last year making the tournament and the transfer portal class that you brought in, have you felt the expectations rising around the program, and is that something that you guys are embracing?
I mean, no, not really. I feel like it's just kind of like the same message as it was last year. Just gel as a team, be great teammates, go out there and compete and do what we're supposed to do.
Brady, there's some info out there about you working in the outfield. How extensive of a role is that going to be for you this year?
You know, everything's still up for what could happen, and right now I've been playing more left field, and I've still been mixing it at first base, so just going to see where Fitz needs me and play wherever he needs it.
For any of you guys, a lot of new guys on the team this year, how have you guys kind of taken that role in embracing them, and how have you seen some of these new guys gel?
I mean, I feel like for us three, since we are the three returners coming in here, it's our job to like make them feel comfortable. So what we do is just try to do like a lot of team bonding stuff, just hang out with each other and just make them feel comfortable as well.
Dariel, you spent a lot of time as DH last year. Talk about expected time being in the field this year and kind of the work you put in on that front.
Over the summer, I stood here on campus working with coach and everything, so really confident on going out there just based off the hard work we did over the summer with footwork and transitioning over to then. So I think we'll be fine.
Are you excited to get more of a time in the field?
Yeah, very excited.
And then Dom, just talk about both individually and as a team, your guys' excitement. Season didn't end as you wanted it to. Just wanted to get back after a lot of exciting moments last year, but certainly more room to grow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited to get out there and start the season again. Baseball season's always exciting for me. And as a team, last year we obviously started off pretty hot, so hopefully looking forward to doing the same thing this year.
How much time does it take to gel with a new group? You guys did it great last year, obviously, so there's a little bit of an art to it. Coach Fitz maybe has the recipe down, but how long does it take, and how far along are you guys in that process? Anybody can take that.
There's no like certain amount of time it takes to gel with a certain group, but I would say we're pretty far along in that process. I feel like this team's very close, and it's not like there's any like little groups of people. We're all pretty much just one team.
Is it tough to do that every year? You know, you got tight with that group last year. You look around, they're gone, and now hey, new group. Or does it just kind of take root and then it's easy from there?
I was gonna say, especially for us three,
yeah,
it's probably we've done it every year now for our college career, so it's getting easier and easier every time. But it's still a challenge.
I think one thing that helps though is also with this new transfer class is just we all bond being over JUCO transfers.
Mm-hmm.
So just being JUCO transfers helps us a lot to like bond with each other and just talk about our experience and get excited to go out there and compete against pretty much good competition.
Sure. And Brady, have you played a ton of left in your life?
Yeah, I used to, before I got to college, I played outfield regularly in high school.
Okay, so pretty easy transition. You don't
Yeah,
feel like it's a brand new thing.
I would say so.
And Dariel, same with you?
Yeah.
brand new?
Nah,
Brand new.
I feel good. I've been going after it ever since I was a kid, so I'm pretty comfortable.
Right. Dom, I wanted to ask you too about, you got a former teammate, you all did, especially you, who's on a coaching staff now, Trumper.
Yeah.
What's that been like?
Yeah, it's awesome having Trump around. He's always fun to be around, and I mean, even though he's a coach, he's in my mind he's still one of us.
And then just in terms of expectations, Dom, you felt this last year with your preseason honors. Brady, you got them this year coming in and some postseason honors last year too. Are you guys used to that now too, or is that something that takes an adjustment period, or do you even worry about it at all?
I was gonna say mainly I don't really worry about it. I've had guys show me some stuff throughout the winter, and like I really doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything. I haven't earned anything yet, so I'm excited to get back out for the season.
Dom, you want to take that too?
Yeah, I mean, same for me. It pretty much goes for what I did last year or the years before, so I still got to go out there and prove it.
You guys get that little taste of the postseason last year. How does that factor into being hungry to get a little further this year?
I mean, obviously going 0-2 in the regional doesn't sit very well, so I'd say that pushes us to play even harder this year and make it further.
And then what about this group is different than last year's group? You guys said that you've been able to gel over the fact that a lot of you are former JUCO guys, but what makes this team different inside the clubhouse than last year's group?
Dariel, you want to take that?
Not a big JUCO guy.
Yeah.
I mean, just like going back to earlier, being like a lot of the JUCO guys and just transitioning into this process, we're all like just ready to go out there and compete. I feel like we got like a nice young group of guys coming in as well too, which makes it even better, more agile, probably more speed hopefully during the course of the time. So just ready to go out there and compete is what we're all looking forward to.
Dom, wanted to ask you about Cannon. What do you expect in terms of a jump from him? He really shined toward the end of last year, and another guy or two that you expect big things from in a rotation or just pitching in general?
Yeah, I mean, me and Cannon are great friends off the field too, so he had a really good fall this fall, so I'd expect him to either be like the head guy in the bullpen and compete for a weekend spot even. And then two of the other guys I would say would be Mason Cook and Matisse Nayrall. They've pretty much emerged as like the other starters on the team and other guys that I see that can really help us out during the season.
And then Brady, you guys offensively and defensively had great moments, great stretches last year. A lot of changes, especially on the left side of the infield. What can you tell us about some new guys there? And is it true you'll be moving away from Zach Top for your walk-up song?
The last part is not true, but I would say we have a lot of great guys. You know, Tyson LeBlanc, really good infielder from LSU Eunice, and he's projected to take the shortstop role. And then Dylan Slaughterback's really sound defensively, can really swing it. So excited to see those two work this year.
Dariel, kind of building off what they just said, has there been anybody you've seen that might make an impact that maybe isn't getting talked about as much?
I would agree with him with LeBlanc, but also we bring in Josh Dykoff. I really like how he's coming along over this winter and coming into the spring. But also another jump I really was impressed with over the fall was Max Elise. He's been doing really well with his approach, bringing people in when we get on base. So I feel like those two are going to be really exciting power bats for us in the lineup.
Brady, when you go back to last year at this time, you're kind of flying under the radar, and now you're appearing in preseason All-American stuff and top 100 rankings. Do you pay any attention to that stuff, or does it feel any different going around this time?
No, I try not to. You know, obviously you see stuff. If you can't be on social media a ton, or else you'll see everything. But I try to just like do what I was doing last year, just play the game I love and enjoy it.
For Brady or Dariel, who are maybe some of the pitchers that have given you the most trouble over some of the inner squads?
I don't know if we can answer that. 'Cause I don't want them getting us their weakness. We still have a couple of inter squads left before we get ready, so maybe after I'll give you that answer.
You guys don't get in here today by accident. I assume you're the leadership group of this team. Are there other leaders? Do you guys feel that there's another level or layer of leadership on this roster?
I believe we have also, going back to his question, another person that we could bring up that can make an impact in this year's group, Jordan Bach. Jordan Bach is a good leader that he just came in, also a senior transfer or grad transfer, I believe. But him, he just do everything right on and off the field. So I feel like him being around us and just giving his experience will help the team.
And this might be for Dom more than the other two, but is leadership a natural thing for you? I think the two guys on the wings are probably pretty naturally leaders. Dom, same for you, or is it something you're working on and have to work on?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty much the same. I mean, obviously it's not going to be perfect right away, so we're continuing to grow, but yeah, I'd say it came pretty natural.
Yeah. Anything else for the guys? Thanks, fellas.
Brady Ballinger, Dom Voegele, and Dariel Osoria at the podium. A lot of moving pieces for KU baseball, as it is for every sport, every university, but those three guys kind of forming a quasi-leadership committee and returning for KU baseball. They've got a top-tier pitcher coming back in Voegele, a top-tier player who garnered another preseason All-American accolade, this time from Baseball America, and Brady Ballinger. Might see Brady in the outfield a little bit this year also.
Yeah, he said he's been working on it. And, he played a little bit of outfield in high school, but obviously he was playing a lot of first base last year. That was his main spot. But moving him out to the outfield, I think is going to be really good. He's got some speed to him as well, and obviously a power hitter. And he will be sticking with Zach Top as his walk-up song. Sean made sure to ask that question at the press conference, that he will be sticking with that walk-up song. You didn't ask Dariel or Dom about their walk-up songs.
I didn't. I just remembered. I just remembered Brady's, and it felt like it just feels right.
Like a baby.
All right, we're gonna go to break before we get into this. Zach Top shout out. I'd never lie. After this, we are gonna do our KU mailbag segment. Thanks to everybody for engaging with the show on Twitter at the Kansas Nation, ESPN Kansas City, and KansasNation.com. CrownAutomotive.com, the place to go when you need a new vehicle. And they've got a great line of new and used vehicles. Check them out online or check them out on South Iowa here in Lawrence. Miles Schneier, the Lawrence Citizen of the Year.
Yes.
How about that? And his team over at Crown Automotive will make sure that your needs are met. A fantastic group of salespeople, our first partners here at KansasNation.com. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, you've got questions, and you want to check out the selection of new or used vehicles, Crown Automotive is the place to go. Again, on South Iowa here in Lawrence. Dan, one of our favorite segments, KU Mailbag segment.
Yeah.
I know that there's
by the people and it's for the people.
That's true. And there are some segments that we like and some segments that we don't like at all.
I like them all.
You like them all, which is great.
You're a little bit more of a cynic than I am.
But I do like the KU Mailbag segment.
Yes, this is your favorite one. What's your least favorite segment?
The one where you talk.
the one where I talk the most. So probably top
Just in
10s.
general, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I
The
love
one
my
where you
top
talk,
10.
yeah.
They're very special top 10s. Didn't do one
yesterday, thank God.
Right, I know. I love my top 10s.
We should bring back the double top 10s, though.
Yeah, those were fun.
Those were fun.
Well,
if it's food related, then yeah.
Drafts kind of became.
I know.
Like our double top 10s just essentially became drafts.
I know. And double top 10s could be kind of lame. It's like, because we have the same number one for both candy and for, and for pickles.
Appetizer. Yeah.
Top 10 pickles.
Top 10 pickles. Let's do that. Top 10 pickles. We'll do that next week. Double top 10. We're going to think of 20 different pickles.
A draft of pickles would be good.
Yeah, that'd be good.
We could do it.
Oh, man.
Elliot.
Yeah. Sweet and sour. Elliot, he wants to know, what's the best meal that you've ever eaten? Sean, I know you've had a lot of food in your time.
I have. I've had more food in my life than you've had in yours. Man, I actually don't know.
That's probably close. I used to be able to put it down, man. I still can.
Yeah.
Let me guess where you're going with this. Not because it's written down here. You're going some barbecue place, right?
Wow, that wasn't because it was written down. I'm trying to think best meal I've ever had. Like, what scenario are you going to have an awesome meal? Because it's probably not going to be...
Probably sitting down with a plate of food in front of me? What do you mean scenario?
No, like at a hoity-toity restaurant. Actually, I might have to go with that.
Like at a hoity-toity restaurant?
This just came to me right now. Shout out to Chad Boger. Jeff Ruby's in Louisville. I had an incredible meal. It was a sirloin.
And this is a Ruby Tuesdays?
No, it's Jeff Ruby's. Look it up. One of the best restaurants in America, I would say. Steakhouse. Whoo! Went there with Greg Gurley. You can check him out on Between Two Fountains, KansasNation.com.
Jeff Ruby's. Looks like there's a couple.
So good. But I had some shrimp, steak, some mashed potatoes, some veggies. Obviously, they had some bread and butter as a teaser to the teaser. So good. But if I'm breaking it down to something I have a little bit more often, yes, barbecue. You know I'm a Gates guy. Can I give my meal again?
Yeah, you can.
Ideal barbecue meal. And again, for anybody who hasn't heard me say this, educate yourself on this.
Educate.
Burn-in sandwich from Gates.
Sure.
Fries from Joe's. Ribs from Joe's. Cheesy corn from Jack Stack. Baked beans from Jack Stack. Onion rings from Jack Stack.
Sure.
Sauce from Gates. Pickles from Gates. A large red from Gates. And then a side of a Z-Man sandwich from Joe's.
A side of,
on
so
the
you're
side.
getting a burn-in sandwich, ribs, onion rings, fries, and a Z-Man.
Well, yeah, but then
And pickles
obviously,
and sauce.
obviously the beans and the corn and all
And
that.
the beans and the corn.
Oh my God! And
By
the
the way,
burn-in appetizer from Q39 as well.
I don't know if
That
this is
is
a
the
hot take.
ideal barbecue meal.
I'm a Zarda beans guy.
That's a hot take.
How's it a hot take?
Piping hot. Because Jack
I love
Stack
Zarda
beans.
Zarda beans are great.
Kansas City people watching, listening, you know that I just absolutely nailed that.
Okay, here's the thing. I was a Joe's guy through and through.
And
then, yeah, Sean, we go up to Kansas City once a week, and we usually go get barbecue, and we usually go to Gates, and you've converted me. I also think Gates fries are better maybe than Joe's.
See, I like Joe's. I like the seasoning on Joe's fries.
Seasoning's
and
great,
I like,
but I
and
like
I
the
like the
steak
spicy
fries,
sauce at Joe's, but the Gates sauce is, man, it's a home. Also, another thing I wrote down, Caleb and I went to Omaha like a few years ago, and we had cheese curds at this restaurant that I don't remember, but they were amazing. And I spent a summer in Wisconsin, so I ate a lot of cheese curds.
Right.
This place in Omaha, maybe she remembers, but I don't, had incredible cheese curds, fried cheese, I'm in. And then also had an amazing meal in Vegas that was comped from one of my buddies.
Nice, that's huge.
And yeah, it was fun. Don't remember the name of that either. So very informative.
My two favorite meals I've ever had, both of them were overseas. I've only been there. I went to London and Sweden. I was about to say this doesn't matter, but KU plays in London this year. So when you go to London, check it out. There's one place I do remember what it's called. It's called Meat Bros, but it's not M-E-A-T. It's M-E-E-T, like you're meeting someone. Meat Bros or Meat Brothers in London.
Meat Bros, okay.
It is that was
Looks
the
like
best.
it's a steakhouse.
Yeah, it's a steakhouse. The best meal I've ever had. I got the steak. Piper got the chicken. And she said that was the best chicken she'd ever had. The steak was phenomenal. And then we went somewhere else, and it's going to bug the hell out of me because I had Marry Me Chicken while I was there. It was on the riverside. It was like on this little pier, and it overlooked like the Tom's River or something, or it was like a little... And I had the Marry Me Chicken, and that was the best meal I've ever had. I don't remember what that place was called, but I do remember Meat Bros. M-E-E-T. M-E-E-T.
I was gonna say how many E's are in the middle of this.
Or maybe Meat Brothers. Just look up Meat Bros, London. Go there. If anybody watching is going to the London game September, go Meat Bros. They take you downstairs, and it's like rock, and it's like it looks like something like out of a Stanley Kubrick film. It's like it feels like you're in like the catacombs. But you walk into the regular restaurant, and you're like, this place is kind of like a dump. But then they take you downstairs, and it's like candlelit and beautiful limestone, and there's a piano playing.
Interesting.
And
you feel like you're inside of a brickstone oven.
It's crazy. It's actually crazy, and the food was fantastic, and it's not that expensive. I think we got out of there. I had the steak. She had the chicken. I think it was like $50 total.
Man, we can talk food.
And we
I'll tell you that much.
we had like a couple of drinks too. I had an old fashioned. So like that, it was like super cheap. Best meal. There it is right there. So yeah, going to London, check that place out. He said, have you ever played in a water fountain with your best guy friend? I'm going to say no, but I have been between two fountains with my friends
So
before.
you've never had one fountain and then you and your friend?
Two guys. No. There's never been a scenario where there's two guys in one fountain, but usually there's two fountains where in between them.
Check out Between Two Fountains, Greg Gurley and Mick Schaefer, KansasNation.com.
This is a good question.
Would you rather have to go to dinner with Jerome Tang or go to a KU watch party, but your +1 is Jeff Long?
Oh, man. Is Jerome Tang paying?
He's going to be soon.
I mean, he's got the money, right?
I'm
like
not
my meal's
going.
getting comped. Yeah. Like I'll go. Like,
I am not going to dinner with Jerome Tang. Long wore the bird on his chest for a certain time. Plus, he's my +1, and if I have to sort of, veer away, then I'll have to do that.
True.
But,
am I right?
I'm not going to dinner with.
Am I
Tang.
riding to the KU watch party with Jeff Long? I could probably chop it up with Jeff Long. Talk about his Arkansas days. Talk about the college football playoff committee. Like, there's more stuff to talk about with Jeff Long than there is with Jerome Tang. Jerome Tang, I don't want to talk to him at all. I have no interest talking to Jerome Tang. But if he's paying for my meal, then it's different because you know what my favorite flavor is.
He might not pay for your meal if it's today, but maybe in a couple months.
Yeah, when he gets fired and he gets $18 million in his pocket, yeah, no, I'm gonna go crazy at a Golden Corral or something. Hey, Greg, he wants to know commercial/corporate logos on KU uniforms. Will we see this soon, and who might it be?
Ooh.
So if you're I think so. Okay, I almost would prefer it on the basketball jerseys than I would the football jerseys, and I'll tell you why. I think for basketball jerseys, there's room for patches, and I think it doesn't look too out of place. Where you're wearing a football jersey, it would be so jarring to see any kind of corporate sponsor on a football jersey in any capacity.
I don't know that I agree
think
with
it would
that.
be a little strange. The only time you ever see a corporate logo or corporate patch on any kind of football jersey is for bowl games. Basketball jerseys, I hated it when the NBA brought it in. All of a sudden, you kind of forgot about it, and it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
And I think that for basketball jerseys, you tend to see more different patches and different things. You have like the American flag, and then you have the SW for Scooter Ward. So and again, KU basketball is more sacred. I think it would just look weirder on a football jersey than one on a basketball jersey.
That's the word, sacred, for sure. But, man, how about if Major League Baseball picks this up? Like, could you see, like, the Yankees road grays?
They did, didn't they?
Well, what's the Do the Yankees have one right now?
I think, yeah, the Yankees have, like, it's on the sleeve.
Okay. So I'm thinking, like, on the chest.
Yeah, chest would be weird.
Corporate.
So I know the Royals have Quick Trip on their sleeve.
Jersey, right, which is jarring in its own right. Okay.
Yeah,
so the Yankees, they've got it very, very, if this is legit, Star Insurance, and it's the same deal on the sleeve. But imagine like the gray Yankees uniform that just says New York, and then you've got like a Coca-Cola. Like that's not great.
MetLife. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess it's happening. Yeah, baseball part of it, but yeah,
who would
college athletics going that way?
Like the wheel or like Louise's West. I think that would be a good one.
Kansas Nation
logo.
See, that would look pretty good.
Hit us up. That's the answer. KU Najee wants to know if you've gotten the opportunity to be a commentator for the Arizona KU game on Monday, what college basketball commentator would you want to call the game with?
Okay, so would I be the color analyst or the play-by-play guy?
I'll say, for the sake of opening it up,
I think we should do opposite. We should both.
I'll be color, you be play-by-play.
Okay, so you're color, so you need to pick a play-by-play guy.
Sure, I'll pick Sean. No, I'm just kidding. I like Shambi. I really do like Shambi.
KU Arizona.
Noah Eagle has been really impressive. Ian Eagle, obviously, legend. Jim Nance. I mean, talk about just a legendary basketball voice.
Yeah.
For play-by-play. I mean, it would be easier for color, I think, because you could probably pick a lot more guys. And there's one in particular who actually ties into the Arizona ties. Who I'm going to pick, but I'm not going to give him I'm not going to give you the name.
If you wanna be the
Bill Walton.
Bill Walton. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's the right answer, right? Now I would have to do play-by-play, and obviously he's dead.
I think it would be painful if. I mean, may he rest in peace. But gosh, he's
so fun to listen. I love
Dave
Bill Walton.
Pash, bless his heart. Dave Pash did so many games with Bill Walton.
No, I got it. Kevin Harlan.
Okay, so you're the color guy and Harlan's the play-by-play guy? Okay.
That's it.
Give me Bill Raftery.
It's a good pick.
That'd be good, right?
That's
Onions.
Onions.
So good.
Man.
Absolute legend.
That's your only pick?
Yeah, I thought about it. I mean, obviously there's all sorts of groups.
You don't want like Wayne Simeon or
Jay Billis?
Greg Gurley?
Let's go with Bill Raftery.
I'll take Brian Haney. Andy wants to know, what would Hunter Dickinson's legacy be if he was on this year's roster? Interesting, because would he start over Flory? Yes. Probably, right?
Well, he would. He'd be, older and more.
Here's the thing about Hunter. The dude was an All-American. Everybody forgets that.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, could he jump over a Carbondale phone book? No. Did he have rim protection? No. But did he put up 26 and 11 every day? Yes.
Carbondale phone books cannot be very big.
They're not very big.
Yeah.
It's a town of 900 people, maybe. So
I think I'm going to
what
start
his
bringing
legacy
that out.
be? Would he be an All-American this year? Is interesting. I think yes,
he'd be an All-American. I think he'd be an All-American, because he would put up numbers again.
See, but that's the thing. I think that last year's roster was substantially worse. Hunter had to take the majority of the load. I think that the load would be substantially
his numbers
taken off
would
of
certainly
him.
be worse.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Peterson out there.
Yeah.
But let's just say I think Hunter Dickinson takes way too much flack, but I like how this roster has come together because, again, the Peterson injury saga, whatever you want to call it, hopefully gets put in the past for good. And it's safe to assume at some point the cramps will come back and all that sort of thing. But when he was gone, don't act like that hasn't helped this team.
Yeah.
Because Council all of a sudden has so much confidence. White has so much confidence. Flory keeps getting better. Those guys had to learn how to win without DP, had to play with each other without DP.
Yeah.
And it was a blessing in disguise.
You still think Hunter's an All-American?
You got to take it to the next level. You got to have Peterson out there majority of the time.
Do you think Hunter's an All-American still?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, plug Hunter Dickinson in any starting lineup in college basketball and play him 30 minutes. You act like he's not going to get.
I'm not acting like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like he's going to get a double-double or close to a double-double every time. And he's going to score because he's big and he'll score to the basket. And wish he would have gotten fouled a little bit more for sure. But
I think it opens up the floor a lot too. And I think it'll help. It would help
it would have been a bummer though,
Darren
because
and all those guys hit more shots
potentially, but it also would have held Flory back significally.
That's also
and
true.
He wouldn't be improving the rate that he is.
And Flory probably transfers out if Hunter's back.
Yeah, which is why I tried to just keep it to the current guys. Andy just asked that question. Henry, what is your biggest unanswered question about KU basketball?
I got one.
I think you're gonna. I have
what the hell is going on with Will Thingvoll?
He's been out.
I know.
Been injured.
What have they been doing to him in practice? Leave him alone.
He has been out. He's on the injury report consistently.
Nobody ever asks about him, which is kind of sad.
We should get Jordan Gusky, our boy.
We need to.
Ask about him.
You know what? I might ask Bill Self about it.
What's
Just
the update
what's
on
going
Will?
on? What's going on with Will Thingvoll? Honestly, I mean, truthfully though, where is Paul Mbia's development at right now? I think.
Will Paul Mbia a factor at some point?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't know. I doubt it. But where's he at?
See,
I want to know where he's at.
I could have sworn you were going Cole Rosario.
That's
he was on the tip of your tongue. I figured you were going to say
that's the obvious one. That's probably the obvious one. Is what's going on with the shooting? I mean, hell, he played 8 minutes and 8 good minutes against Texas Tech, but didn't score any points. He put up 2 shots. Both of them didn't fall, but he had a big offensive rebound. I think it's a lot of development questions for some of the guys who are new, right? Like Cole and like Paul Mbia.
We haven't mentioned this yet. You know who led Kansas in plus minus in Lubbock? Cole Rosario.
No kidding.
He was plus 9. Only played 8 minutes. He was plus 9, leading all players in Lubbock. So yeah, that's going to catch the attention. I know the coaches look at that. Biggest unanswered question about KU basketball: where does Kansas go when they've got foul trouble?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because they haven't had legitimate foul trouble in a while. So if you've got Flory and Bryson both with 2 fouls in the first half, one of them's still going to be out there because you got to risk it. But, we haven't had to see the Jalen Wilson at the 5-type 5-guard lineup yet.
Yeah.
And is that where Coach Self will go if that happens? Who knows? Obviously, your 2 guys coming off the bench are guards.
Yeah, be sub Bryson and Flory for El Marco and Jamari.
And Trey White plays the 5.
Trey White plays the 5.
I mean, you've seen Mbia spotty at times, but yeah, it'll be interesting. Hopefully that doesn't happen too often. Flory's been unbelievable at defending without fouling, and he continues his uptick on both sides. Hey, after this, we're going to hear from some KU softball players, and then we're going to end with some college basketball game picks. Rock Chalk Sports rolls on, ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. All right, Dan, get ready to wave the wheat because, as you know, there's a certain energy that comes with Jayhawk basketball, with the crowd rising together, the band playing, in that unmistakable moment when fans lift their arms and wave the wheat. It's a tradition that represents pride, unity, and Jayhawk spirit. With Jayhawk checking from Central Bank, that tradition does not stop when the game ends. Jayhawk fans can carry their pride wherever they go with the official Jayhawk debit card, a simple way to show school spirit every day. Central Bank is proud to support the traditions and communities that bring people together. And as the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, Central Bank is committed to serving Jayhawk fans with banking options designed for real life on campus, at work, and everywhere in between. So if you're ready to wave the wheat beyond the stands, learn more about Jayhawk Checking and the exclusive debit card at jayhawkchecking.com. That's jayhawkchecking.com. Central Bank, the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, member FDIC. We got to hear from head softball coach Jennifer McFalls yesterday. We also heard from a few KU softball players, Emma Tatum and Aynslee Lindruff, who spoke to the media yesterday. Let's hear from them now.
Aynslee, just kind of first talk about your role in terms of spearheading the offense and the importance that that's going to be. Coach was in here talking about the power that you guys have and the importance of the girls in the middle of the lineup, but obviously you have an important role for setting the table.
Yeah, I think Presley Limbaugh also does a really good job of just starting us off. She's a real power in our lineup. She's consistent all the time, and I think that this year we're going to have a really powerful lineup, and I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Coach talked about how you guys play 11 games in 10 days to open the season. How challenging can that be, having to, constantly be playing back-to-backs?
Yeah, I think one thing is it's warmer down there, so we're really excited to kind of get there, and it can be really challenging, but one good thing is I think just like playing for each other and knowing that we just have an opportunity to just go down there and play some good schools. It's just a really neat opportunity that we have to kind of just get down to a warmer state, play in some warmer weather and some sunshine, but most importantly just being able to kind of play for each other and play free. So we're really excited about it.
Coach talked about you guys have 9 pitchers on the staff. Obviously, you go up against all of them. Is there anybody who kind of sticks out to you, maybe give you, I don't know, trouble is not the right word, but in the offseason, but any of the pitchers kind of stick out to you?
Yes, I think Kaylee Washington has done a lot of work in this offseason, and she has been really tough to go against in all of our scrimmages, so I'm really excited to see what she does this season.
Yeah, I would also say just a senior returner, Lizzie Ludwig, has just done an incredible job of she's kind of just like the leader of the bullpen, and she just did an incredible job of kind of being a mentor to all of those girls, and she's just worked so hard. So excited to see what she's going to do this season too.
Coach talked about that pitching depth as an advantage that you guys have from the offensive perspective when you're facing a team that can give you a bunch of different looks and throw a bunch of different styles at you. How difficult is that?
I'd say it's really difficult, especially even if a team's throwing 3 arms at you a game, just to make that adjustment I think is pretty difficult, especially if the pitchers are throwing up, down. I think we have a lot of depth in our pitching staff, so I think it's going to be a trouble for a lot of opposing teams.
Yeah, kind of just being able to, we got to scrimmage a lot this fall, and being able to be outside for a couple of days this spring has been awesome. And you just face so many different arms with so many different levels coming at you, whether it's drop ball, rise ball, change up, just so many different kinds of pitches coming at you. So it's a really good opportunity for us to kind of be able to get ready for anything, and also just can't wait to see the challenge it's going to give other teams. So
I wonder if you could both answer sort of the idea of what Haley means to this program, what she's meant to you guys as seniors, what she means to the newcomers, and just sort of the Coach called her the foundation of the program. What have you seen in her evolution and where she's sitting heading into this final season?
Yeah, I mean, I could say so many things about Haley Kripe. I think she is just an incredible human being. It's been so fun to be able to lead with her and be a senior with her. Honestly, just watching her from our freshman year develop and her confidence of just being able to lead this team with so much relentless and just grittiness. I have just learned so much from her, and kind of just, she's been a mentor kind of just in my own life of being able to want to be as gritty as she is, and she just lays it all out for our team. And every day we come to practice, and I have no doubt that she's going to give it all she has. So
yeah, Haley is for sure, no doubt, a foundation for this team. I think for the younger players, she's an amazing mentor. She's someone that they can all look up to. She's always doing the right thing. She's working hard in the indoor. She's always putting in extra reps. I think that they really look up to her because she just does everything right.
You guys lose Olivia, who had so much production offensively. You mentioned Presley, obviously. She's going to be a big star. But other names to know offensively, because Coach was in here, she was thinking that there's going to be more runs on the board this season.
Yeah, a freshman comes to mind when I think about this, and obviously Haley Kripe as well. But Ella Boyer, she's had an incredible fall and beginning of the spring, kind of working in practice. I swear, every time she hits the ball, there's just so much power off her bat, and I can't wait to see, like, as a freshman, just the mindset that she's going to have. So, yeah, I definitely think you should be looking forward to what she's going to produce for our team.
Yeah, I'm also really excited to see what Anna Souls does this spring. Last spring, she got hurt at the beginning of the season, so I'm really excited to see what she does this spring. In the fall, she had a lot of offensive power, so I think she's really going to help us out offensively.
When you guys look back on last season, where do you feel like you guys can take the biggest steps of improvement as a team?
I think adding 9 pitchers to our pitching staff will help us a lot, give teams different looks all the time. If one thing's not working, we can go to a different pitcher, so I think that's going to help us a lot in the circle, having a lot of depth.
Yeah, I think just the mindset too. I think we've been able to have a lot of physical aspects come to play, but I just really think that our team's mindset this year is going to look a lot different. We just have a team that wants to play for each other, and we just care so much about each other. We love each other. We're rooting for each other, and I think that that's just going to play a big role in this year.
To follow up on that, do you have goals? Do you have expectations? Are you setting those yet, or are those in-house, or where do those sit?
Well, our number one goal right now is to make postseason, which I think is a very achievable goal with this team that we have.
Yeah, I think with that being said, the first couple of weekends on the road are really big for us, and kind of in years past, like we've seen how towards the end of the season we can see that losing some of those games has kind of hurt us, and so a big goal for us is going down there and taking care of business against the schools that we need to beat. So,
anything else?
That's Emma Tatum and Aynslee Lindruff of Kansas softball. Coach McFalls saying yesterday, expecting more runs and a lot of pitchers this year as well. 9 pitchers on the roster for KU softball. And as you heard the girls talk about, Ella Boyer, a freshman catcher that a lot is expected from a middle-of-the-order power standpoint. Of course, KU softball losing Olivia Bruno, who hit the most homers for them last season. We'll keep you up to date on all things going on with KU baseball and softball. Softball actually kicks off their season on Friday as they head down to Texas and play, I believe, 11 games in 10 days for KU softball. So good luck to Coach McFalls and that squad. Spring is a lot of fun always. It's a lot more fun when teams are winning, and we've certainly experienced that on the baseball side a lot here recently. After this, some college basketball game picks, and don't forget tomorrow's show, we're going to hear from head football coach Lance Leipold. That's next. Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. All right, well, we were just talking about KU's resume. They've got nice wins, of course, 3 in conference play, BYU, Texas Tech, Iowa State. Then you have wins over Tennessee and NC State. Both those teams have been trending up recently as well. Tennessee's back in the polls. NC State likely will be. Darion Williams playing a little bit better. Got to assume KU beats Utah. But if you beat Arizona on Monday, which is doable, certainly doable, you're in Allen Fieldhouse, I mean, you're looking all of a sudden at a Kansas team who's 9-2, you're probably on the 2 line, right?
I was just about to say that.
So bracketology just came out, and KU was on the 3, but if you're able to get that, that'd be huge. Obviously, then you still, even after the Arizona game, have 3 games against top 10 teams, but at least if Kansas is able to get that done and win 2 at home, then you're feeling really good.
Yeah, obviously the selection committee, I think, looks at trends, right? They're not going to look at Kansas in the non-con whenever they lost to North Carolina, lost to Duke, lost to UConn, which, by the way, those are 3 really solid losses. You don't like the term quality losses, but those are quality losses, right? But you're not going to look at those. You're going to look at, they beat Iowa State when they were the number 2 team in the nation, and if they beat Arizona, they were the number 1 team in the nation. So you're going to look at that and say,
plus 2 more top 15s.
Yeah, plus 2 more top 15s. You're going to look at that and say, well, they're clearly a 2 seed.
Yeah. Well, and the other thinking is regarding the Big 12 and trying to win the Big 12 championship, you got to keep winning because you've got 2 losses. Arizona has none, and you can get them, and Houston only has 1, that sort of thing. And there is the possibility that nobody likes, but there is the possibility that that there's a tie for the Big 12 regular season title. Interesting. I'm just seeing on our screens here at Kansas Nation, Ochai Agbaji seemingly is going to go to the Brooklyn Nets. NBA trade deadline coming. Of course, Jalen Wilson plays for the Brooklyn Nets. So Agbaji, who was on the Raptors with Grady Dick, another former Jayhawk, supposedly will be joining Jalen Wilson in Brooklyn. So hopefully that's good news for Ochai. But yeah, really exciting. And again, if you get on that 3 seed line, certainly if you get on the 2 seed line, feel really confident that Kansas will play close, which is either St. Louis or Oklahoma City for what it's worth. All right, let's go through for the first 2 rounds, of course, of the tournament. Let's go through some game picks really quick. Got 2 minutes, 4 games tonight. Number 8, Houston hosting UCF. How about this line at the Fertitta Center, Dan? Minus 14.5 for the Cougars, over under 147.5.
I don't like this line at all. I think UCF is going to cover for sure. I mean, UCF is a good team. 14.5, obviously, you're in Houston. I get that. I think they're going to put up some points. Give me this is weird. I know I usually go away from going with the overs whenever Houston is playing, but give me the over in this game and give me UCF to cover.
Houston been more of an offensive-minded program these last couple seasons than the previous seasons. Baylor at home, they've got just 2 wins in conference play, but they're minus 7.5 against Colorado, over under 158.5.
I mean, they have 2 lottery picks on their team, man. I mean, 7.5 feels right to me. Colorado doesn't have any lottery picks. Baylor is just a way more talented team, even though they don't have the wins. Those wins better start stacking up, and I think Scott Drew knows it. So, yeah, they're going to cover this line.
Oklahoma State hosting BYU. Tough game for BYU. Sneaky tough after losing 2 games. The Pokes at home are plus 7.5, over under 167.5.
Yeah, BYU's got to come back, and, Kevin Young knows that. Everybody on that squad knows that. A.J. DeBonson knows that. They're a much more talented team than Oklahoma State, but it's in Stillwater. I like BYU to cover this line barely. Also, give me the over in this game, 167.5. Feels high. I like the over on that.
Up and down affair. All right, and this one, not the most interesting game of the night, but it's interesting because you have to figure out if you take the point or give the point away. Utah hosting Arizona State. Utes are minus 1.5. Over under is 161.5.
Give me Arizona State to cover.
There you go.
So I take the point.
There you go. You take the point. Why would you not, right? They lose by 1.
Why would I not?
They lose by 1.
Why would I?
They lose by 1, and that'd be a disaster.
Yeah, I know. That would just be silly of me.
ASU plus 1.5. You are taking 4 Big 12 games on the docket tonight. That's going to do it for Rock Chalk Sports. Tomorrow on the show, we will have the voice of the Kansas Jayhawks, Brian Haney. We're also going to hear from head football coach Lance Leipold. Much more. KU basketball next in action Saturday, 1:30 in the Fog against Utah. Shout out to Elijah Schmidt running the operations. For Dan Courtwright, Sean Kellerman saying we'll catch you tomorrow. Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com.